If you act this way, you're not common. Have you ever looked around and felt like everyone is playing the same game, saying the same things, chasing the same approval, and yet a few people move differently? They don't chase attention, but attention follows them. They don't beg for respect, but people naturally give it. Why? What are they doing that most people aren't? The truth is uncomfortable. Most people are predictable. They react the same way, think the same way, and fall into the same traps over and over again. But a small percentage, they break the pattern. And when you break the pattern, you stop being common. So the real question is, are you ready to see what separates them? Let's start with this. Common people react. Uncommon people respond. Sounds simple, right? But think about it. Someone disrespects you. What do most people do? They snap, they argue, they lose control. And in that moment, they hand over all their power. But the uncommon individual, they pause, they observe, they choose their response like it's a weapon. Because they understand something most people don't. Emotional control is dominance. When you don't react impulsively, you become unpredictable. And when people can't predict you, they can't control you. So ask yourself, are you reacting or are you responding? Here's another truth most people avoid. Common people need validation. Uncommon people create their own. Look at social media. How many people are posting just to be seen, just to be liked, just to feel like they matter? It's an addiction, and the more they depend on external approval, the weaker they become internally. But the uncommon individual, they don't need applause, they don't need permission, they move with certainty, even when no one is watching. And that's powerful. Because when you don't need validation, you become dangerous in the best way possible. You stop being controlled by opinions. You start being driven by purpose. Now think about discipline. This is where the gap gets brutal. Common people do things when they feel like it. They wait for motivation. They wait for the perfect mood. But that moment rarely comes. So they stay stuck. Meanwhile, the uncommon individual, they act regardless of how they feel. They show up tired. They show up unmotivated. They show up when it's inconvenient. Because they understand that discipline is freedom. It's not about feeling good, it's about doing what needs to be done. And over time that consistency compounds into results that look like magic to everyone else. Let me ask you something. When things go wrong, who do you blame? Because this is where most people expose themselves. Common people blame circumstances, they blame other people, they blame bad luck. It's always something outside of them. But the uncommon individual, they take ownership, even when it's not entirely their fault. Why? Because ownership gives control. If it's your fault, you can fix it. If it's someone else's fault, you're stuck waiting, and waiting is weakness. So they choose responsibility, not because it's easy, but because it's powerful. Here's a behavior that instantly separates you: the ability to walk away. Common people cling, they chase, they hold on to things that are clearly not working: relationships, opportunities, environments. Why? Fear. Fear of losing, fear of being alone, fear of starting over. But the uncommon individual, they detach. Not because they don't care, but because they value themselves more than what's draining them. They understand that walking away is not losing, staying in the wrong place is. And when you develop that mindset, you become rare. Now let's talk about focus. In a world full of distractions, focus is a superpower. And yet most people are completely addicted to distraction. Notifications, scrolling, endless entertainment, it's constant noise. And while they're distracted, time is slipping away. But the uncommon individual, they protect their focus like it's gold. They know that where attention goes, life follows. So they eliminate what doesn't matter. They double down on what does, and that's how they move faster, think clearer, and achieve more while others stay stuck in cycles. Another thing most people won't admit, they fear being misunderstood. They want everyone to like them, to agree with them, to approve of them. So they dilute themselves, they become smaller. But the uncommon individual, they accept that being different comes with friction. Not everyone will understand them, not everyone will agree, and that's fine, because they're not trying to fit in, they're trying to stand out. And when you stop seeking universal approval, you unlock a level of authenticity that most people never experience. Let's go deeper. Common people avoid discomfort. They run from it. They look for shortcuts, easy paths, quick wins, but growth doesn't live there. Growth lives in discomfort, in challenge, in resistance. And the uncommon individual knows this. They lean into it, they seek it, because they understand that every uncomfortable moment is shaping them into something stronger. So while others are escaping pain, they're using it as fuel, and over time, that creates a gap that becomes impossible to ignore. Here's something subtle but powerful: how you spend your time alone. Most people can't stand being alone. They need noise, they need distraction, they need constant stimulation. But the uncommon individual, they use solitude as a tool. They reflect, they think, they analyze their own behavior, because they understand that self-awareness is the foundation of growth. If you don't understand yourself, you can't improve yourself, and that's why they evolve faster than everyone else. Now let's talk about standards. This is where everything changes. Common people lower their standards to fit their environment. They tolerate disrespect, they accept mediocrity, they settle. But the uncommon individual, they raise their standards and let the environment adjust or fall away. They know their value, and they don't negotiate it, because the moment you lower your standards, you lower your life, and the moment you raise them, everything starts to shift. How often do you say no? Because common people struggle with this. They say yes to everything. They overcommit. They stretch themselves thin trying to please everyone. And in the process, they lose themselves. But the uncommon individual, they say no with confidence. They protect their time, their energy, their priorities, because they understand that every yes has a cost, and if it's not aligned, it's not worth it. Here's another difference. Common people talk a lot. They share plans, they announce goals, they seek validation before results. But the uncommon individual, they move in silence. They let actions speak, because they know something powerful. When you talk too much, you lose energy. But when you act, you build momentum. And momentum is everything. Let's be honest, most people quit too early. They try something, it gets hard, and they stop. They tell themselves it's not for them, that it's too difficult. But the uncommon individual, they persist. They stay in the game longer than anyone else, and that alone puts them ahead. Because success is not always about talent. It's about endurance. It's about who can keep going when it stops being exciting. Now imagine this. Two people start at the same point. Same resources, same opportunities. One chooses comfort, the other chooses growth. Fast forward a year, the gap is massive, and it only keeps growing. That's the power of these small behaviors. They don't look dramatic in the moment, but over time, they create a completely different life. So where does that leave you? Because now you see it. The patterns, the differences. The truth is, being uncommon is not about talent. It's not about luck. It's about choices. Daily choices. How you think, how you act, how you respond. And the best part? You can start right now. You don't need permission. You don't need approval. You don't need the perfect moment. All you need is awareness and the willingness to act differently. Because the moment you stop doing what everyone else is doing, you stop being like everyone else. And here's the final question. Are you going to keep living on autopilot, reacting, chasing, settling, or are you going to take control, raise your standards, and become someone rare? Because the difference between common and uncommon is not a mystery. It's a decision, and that decision is yours.